Hi all, another review video for you today. So can anyone guess what I'm going to be reviewing? This little small box. Well, if you guessed, the new Marks Models exclusive Northern Counties Committee Class 3F Ginty 060 tank engine, number 19, then you would be correct. So this just arrived today. And it's made by Hornby. So Marks Models commissioned Hornby to make it, and I think it's fantastic. And so today we're going to do a little bit of an unboxing, and then I'll do some close-ups, and then we'll get it on the track and run it under DC. This is based on the Hornby railroad tooling, so unfortunately it's not DCC ready, but I will do either in this video or another video, I will do a conversion to DCC video. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to squeeze a HM7000 chip and speaker into the body shell, because they do Hornby have a 3F sound profile. Now, I don't know if it's going to be possible. It's a small locomotive. I'll let you know. We'll see how it goes. If not, I will do just a standard chip. So, yeah, let's get it unboxed. So, this is how it arrived to me. So, it came a nice outer sleeve, fragile on it, and the sticker. So, I have my handy craft knife. So, carefully slice open this end. Yeah, carefully, and that's that. Cool. Away the knife. I will keep this because why not? It has the sticker on it. So, let's see what I'm seeing. Nice yellow from the Hornby. Oh yeah, there we go. Nothing else in there. Nope, put that aside for later. So nice and bubble wrap, lovely. And a little bit of tape, nicely packaged, which is what we like to see. Keep it nice and safe, because there is nothing, it's very sad if you order a loco or a coach or something like that and it arrives bent or damaged. It's disappointing. So this has arrived in perfect condition. So let's see. Bye bubble wrap. So, ooh, that looks lovely. Yeah, that looks really nice. Very nice. Yeah, so standard Hornby Railroad packaging. Let's have a look. So yeah, it does say marksmodels.com exclusive model, which is nice. So same sticker that's on the outside box. So we have our normal choking hazard, etc. warnings on the back. Hornby hobbies. Made in China, which is fair. Yeah, I don't mind it being a railroad tooling because it comes in at just a hair under €100, so it comes in as €99 and 99 cents, which for a ready to run Irish steam locomotive I think is really good. I know some people might give out that it's not a very high end model, but if it was a higher end model it would cost more. So I think this is great, especially if anyone wants to get into Irish modelling. Perfect locomotive for that. Like, you could buy this, buy a few just Hornby wagons or something like that for not a huge amount of money, instead of spending, if you were to buy a higher end DCC sound models, like 350 quid. So 100 quid for this, lovely. So we'll yeah, so we'll slide it out. It's got egg carton packaging, not so I actually haven't unboxed a Hornby Railroad model before, so this is all new to me. So nice egg carton packaging, which I think is nice. I prefer these sort of more, I suppose, sustainable packaging than the polystyrene or that. So I think this is nice, and it's still good and protective. I mean, they protect eggs, so these would be as fragile. What else did we get? We got a little leaflet, which is nice. So quite a big leaflet. So let's have a look. So type M motor, analog / DCC fitted. So obviously it's a generic one because it's not DCC fitted. Yeah, so yeah, I like that. DCC ready, contact your specialist dealer. Yeah, so very generic instructions. But yeah, there we go. So yeah, that's the one it's going to be. So I assume that's the railroad tooling, and then they probably have a more expensive one that does have a DCC chip that you can click into. Just fine. Again, I don't mind it being the railroad tooling. It's grand. I think the detailing is still good. But yeah, sort of standard Hornby packaging and documentation. On the back you just have some safety notes and lubrication, spare parts, and yeah, that's about it. No yeah, no history on the loco or anything, which is a shame, but ah well. So there we go. So let's get her out of the packaging. First thing is you do get a little I suppose detail kit. You get a little crew, so you get your fireman and a driver, and then you also get 2 little vac pipes to stick in the front, which I will put in. I think they add a lot to it, so that's great. That's it though. That's the only bit of extras you get. So let's see now. It doesn't have a hole at the back to push it out, so let's try. It does come with nice decent plastic there to protect it. Let's try and get it out. There we go, lovely. And there's lots of foam and bits in there, so it's actually pretty snug. So the packaging's pretty good. I don't think there's much risk of it getting damaged. Let's pop it down. And yeah, it looks really good. That side, put that over there. So yeah, looks really good. Paint finish is really nice. You know, it's quite a nice livery. Like it's quite plain, but I think it's nice. It suits the engine well. You know, and then the lovely red the bars there connecting the wheels have a nice red accent to them, which is lovely. But yeah, number 19. Sorry about the lighting. One sec. A little bit more. Alright, that's better. Cool. So yeah, looks really good. Do some close-ups. There's nice little decals. I like the lettering is it's not just whatchamacallit, flat. It's kind of got a 3D effect to it, which is really nice. And yeah, little nice decal there. Again, the name, I don't know if it'll focus in on the where it says Leeds, and then number 19. Yeah, it does have some. Let's see if I can get the focus on the inside. There is some sort of a cab detail, not massive, but it is there. And now it's not going to want to focus anymore. Yeah, so, and then it does have some separately fitted parts. So the whistles and the safety valve are separately fitted, which is nice. And then it does have a little bit of pipe work, so either side of the chimney there, and a little right hand separately fitted rail on the front as well, which is great. Yeah, it's really nice. Little hole there for the vac pipe to be put in. Yeah, and then the Ulster, you can see just about see Ulster Transport there. It's the UTA, Ulster Transport Authority livery, which is great. Yeah, little foot, little steps and everything. Yeah, looks like a really nice model. Nicely presented, good finish, nice level of detail. So yeah, it's very good. Yeah, nice Ginty. So my next goal is I'm going to see how it runs on DC, because this is a DC only model at the moment, and later in the video I will convert it, as I said earlier. So what I'm going to do is just run it in on DC and we'll see how it runs. So I'll be back for that. Actually, before we do a little running in on DC, I do have, from when I was a child, I do have a old Hornby Ginty. So what I'll do is I'll do a little comparison between this one and the older one. Now this one I got probably, oh man, like maybe 20 years ago, something like that. And I got a second hand, hence why I don't have the outer sleeve. I got it second hand in one of the Dublin model railway shows. It's one of the memories I have from as a young boy, being there with my dad and being like, oh, I want that, and that's how you can see it was what, €30. Just about see that back then. Now it's not in perfect nick, as I said, it's missing the outer sleeve, and that's the old Hornby packaging there. So it's the old polystyrene, which has stood the test of time, but I prefer the new egg carton packaging. Now I've had a look, and I think I see I'm missing a buffer, and one step as well is broken off, unfortunately. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, the actual body shell is identical. It's the same body shell. They haven't changed the tooling since. But as far as I know, the actual motor itself is different, because if you look underneath, gently flip these upside down, as you can see, the older style one is driven from the front, whereas the newer one is driven from the middle. So the motor has been updated, and one thing I'm noticing that I really like is on the original one, the decouplers are part of the chassis, so they're just molded into it, so you can't remove them without cutting them off, and then it doesn't look great, and then you can't put them back on, obviously. But with the new one, there's 2 little screws, so you can actually remove the couplers themselves, which is great. They're not NEM pockets, but you know, the fact that you can remove it is great. So I will be removing the front one, just because I don't usually push. I usually just pull with my locos, so I get rid of the front one just for a nice clean front finish. Yeah. Now I'm also looking. I have had a look, and I am going to be able to convert this using my HM7000, which is fantastic, because there's actually quite a lot of room, even though it's a small locomotive. Because it's a tank engine, it's quite wide, and the actual motor itself is really skinny, so there's actually you can probably see there's quite a lot of room to play with inside the loco. So once I go onto the DCC conversion bit, you'll see how I'm going to sneakily package everything. I'm quite pleased with myself. I spent last night playing with the old one, trying to make it fit and stuff, so it's gonna work. Well, I hope it will. It should work. But yeah, that's kind of a little difference. I think the body shell is the same. I think the only difference I'm looking at now is, I don't know if you can see the way it says made in Great Britain. Sorry, I'll do it the right way. See, it says made in Great Britain or 05210. I think the only difference is, because this one was obviously, the old one was made in Britain, whereas this one was made in China. See, or 50, they just got rid of the made in Great Britain, and now it just says made in China on the thing. So that's the only difference I can see between the body shells. But it's good to see that the motor has been updated. This was never a great runner since I got it, and it was one of those things where I was a child and begged my dad to get it for me, and then the last thing I wanted to tell him was, oh, it doesn't work very well. So now as an adult, I realise it probably just needs to be cleaned, the pickups and that, probably just run in a bit, and then it'll be fine. And I think there's supposed to be traction tyres here, because the wheels do look different, but obviously this is being a very old loco, they've just probably perished and gone, so I think maybe that's why it also ran a bit crap. But yeah, the new one, no traction tires. It has, as you can see, all 6 wheels are proper wheels, which is good to see. Not that I'm a massive, it's like, I don't mind traction tires that much, but it's nice when a loco doesn't have them. But yeah, so I think that's just a little comparison between the two. Obviously this is in a different livery. You can see, not really get it to focus. Like, yeah, I find the paint on the newer one is much crisper. Like the logo on that one, you can't really make out what it says, but yeah, with this one you can. But yeah, same fittings and stuff like that, same pipe work and everything. But yeah, I mean, it's grand. It looks really smart, even though the body shell tooling is what, could be 30-40 years old. It still looks really good today. I know other people might give out that it's old tooling, but I mean, it looks fine. For me, it looks fine, and it wasn't an expensive locomotive. I think £100 is bang on the money for especially a low production exclusive model. So of an Irish steam engine, so I think it's bang on the money. So yeah. So what I'll do now is I will go do a little DC running session, and then we'll get on with converting it to DCC. So See you in a minute. So we're back, as we had a lovely session of DC running. It's always a good idea to, if you have a non-DCC locomotive, to actually, instead of taking it straight out of the box and converting it, it's always good to run it on the track and test it that it actually works, because you do occasionally get, you know, locomotives that are just duds and they don't work from the box, and you don't want to go to the hassle of converting it and then figuring out, and then it doesn't work, and then you're thinking, oh, was it something I did wrong? Has my chip died? Did I wire it properly? Did I fry it? You know, anything like that, whereas it just didn't work beforehand. And then of course, if you've gone and butchered it all, you can't really return it. So yeah, so runs really well. Very impressed with the running performance. You know, decent low speed, and then good bit of speed out of it at high speed. Probably a little bit too fast for if you're going by scale speed, but I don't really care. You know, it's fine. Yeah, I think it runs really well. Nice and quiet. Very impressed. And you saw a comparison then at the end compared to my original Ginty, which is very loud in comparison. Like, it's the new motor is definitely improved, much smoother, much quieter. And you saw where the older one kind of, the two of them I did the comparison, that was the same speed of increase, turning the dial up the same speed on both of them, and this one was lovely and smooth, and kind of, you know, the speed curve was lovely, just went up, whereas the older one was slow, and then it jumped. So much better motor control on this. So that's good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to convert it to DCC. So what we're going to need for this is I'm going to disassemble the locomotive. So take the body off, and then for today's DCC conversion we are going to use a 8-pin Hornby HM7000 Bluetooth decoder with sound. So that's great. There you go. And here's the speaker. This is the box that I have popped the speaker into. That's the biggest enclosure the Sugar Cube speaker will fit into this loco. As I said, I had my original one apart, and I was using it to kind of gauge what's going to fit. And then also, surprisingly enough, we will be able to fit the power pack as well, which I didn't think we would be able to, because again, it is quite, you know, it's a small locomotive, but because I said earlier, because of the box, the like tank nature of it being quite boxy, actually is a decent amount of room in it. And there's one bit that I'm particularly delighted with, and I think Hornby were way ahead of their time when they were designing this. You know, a bit of luck. So yeah, so that's it. That's what we'll need. Oh, actually, sorry, one more thing. I'm not going to be hardwiring it, so I'm not going to. There is two ways of doing it. I could cut the plug off this and just solder the wires directly onto the motor and the pickups, but I don't want to do that because these are about, what, 75 quid each, and I would rather put a socket in it, so if I need to in the future take it out and use it in something else, as in fact I did with this. I stole this from my Lima 201 class locomotive, because these are currently out of stock in Mark's models, and they're like €90 on Amazon at the moment, so a little bit inflated because I think Hornby are low in stock, so hopefully they'll do a restock and they'll go back to normal price and I'll pick up another one. So what I'm going to use is a 8-pin socket, a harness one. So I also stole this from my 201 class because I ran out of them, and I had, instead of buying more harness ones, I bought a pack of Gauge Master ones with the little PCB, and you just solder your wires onto the back there. But unfortunately, as you can see, this is just a little bit, yeah, you can see it's just a bit wider than the harness one, and unfortunately it's just that little bit too wide. It won't fit. So this fits perfectly, this is just a little bit too wide, so I'll put this into the Lima 201 because there's loads of room. But so that's what we're going to use. These are, I think these are DCC Concepts 8-pin harnesses. So yeah, so that's what we're going to need. And then obviously you're going to need soldering iron, snips, maybe some extra wire, etc. But what I'm going to do now is I will take the body, show you how to remove the body off the Ginty. So to remove the body, what we're going to do is just tidy this stuff out of the way for the moment. There's no screws. There's no screws or anything holding the body on. All these screws hold the kind of bottom plate to the chassis there for the couplers. You don't need to remove any of them. There is a little, see here, a little clip, and all we have to do is get a little flathead screwdriver. I would like to use one of my spudgers because they're plastic, but unfortunately I don't have a spudger small enough, so I'm gonna have to use a screwdriver, and I'm just going to be super careful because what you don't want is for it to slip and you scratch the paint. So you just push, you have to push pretty hard. It's, you know, quite hard, probably harder than you'd want, but anyway, there we go, and pushed it. It's now popped out. You just wiggle it out, and it comes out, and then the front comes off. So yeah, the front has these two little, to focus, these two little clips there that kind of clip in, so they clip into, you see the two little holes there. Yeah, so that's it. That's the body off. Simple as that. Nice and easy. There's the body shell. As you can see, there's plenty of room in it. You know, you have all this area at the back here, and then the motor is actually quite skinny. You see, so you have all the tank area here to play with, and this is where I was delighted because I actually didn't think I was going to be able to fit the HM7000 in, because it's quite a big chip because it has the Bluetooth antennas on this end. So I was a bit worried that I wouldn't be able to fit it. If not, then I would have just done a normal like a normal just 4-pin decoder, but you can see, like, kind of see the difference. Like, it's quite a huge chip in comparison to like a normal 4-pin one. So yeah, so the thing I was saying is that I'm extremely delighted with is, and I said Hornby kind of ahead of their time, and that is the chip fits with the wires thing. Look at that, look at that, absolutely snug fit in the coal bunker. Perfect. I will add a bit of protection in there, like I'll put a bit of tape on the decoders to stop it like rattling around, but that's it. So, and then the wires I will have to use a lot of black tape, but they can be tucked in under there and they should fit like that and you won't see them. See? So happy days. Yeah, and then, yeah, so that'll go there. Chip fits at the back. The speaker in its nice little enclosure fits lovely at the side there. Like, look at that. Lovely snug fit. I know it's hard to see because it's all black, but it fits lovely there, and I've tested it with the other, my older one, and the motor. The other motor is slightly wider than this one, and the older motor clicks in, so this one should click in just fine. And then the bit that I'm particularly impressed with Hornby is, you see at the front of here, there's this lovely sort of indent. The power pack. Now the power pack unfortunately won't fit in the back coal bunker. It's just a little bit too big because it's just 3 capacitors in there and a little circuit board. But it won't fit. But look at that. It fits absolutely perfectly there. And there's even a little channel here for the wires. You know, it's as if Hornby knew. Like, look at that. And then it does fit. There's a good bit of room under there, and it does fit. I've tested it with the other one. So test it with the other one and it fits perfect. So yeah, I'm delighted with that. And then, as I was saying, this fits perfectly there, with the socket in, and it just about clears the motor, which is grand. Whereas, as I said, the PCB one is just, see, it's a bit too wide. You can see that, yeah, it's just a little bit too wide. But yeah, so that's that. Here's the motor in all its glory. Little railroad chassis. I think it's grand, it runs fine. It's not super high end, but for the price, I don't think you can argue. Yeah, so the next thing what we're going to do is we're just going to crack into it. So we know where everything's going to fit. So what we need to do now is wire this in. So for DCC, what you need is 4 wires. So you need motor right, motor left, track right and track left. They're all here. So you've got there's track right, track left, and then motor right, motor left, or motor right, motor left, motor right. I can never remember because it's upside, it's standing up. But what you can do is, once you have it converted, if you wire it in one way and then you find when you have it on your controller and it's going, you have it set to forward and it's going backwards, you can just swap either the track or that, just swap the 2 wires and then it'll do the right direction for you. Or in digital, I know you can go in and probably change a CV as well, that you can swap the direction, but just physically change the wires just as handy. Yeah. So then this you can get rid of. These little suppression thing, get rid of that. Sometimes it causes issues. I've left it on in the past on some of them and it's been fine. Other ones I've had issues with, so I'm just going to take it off. And that's it. You can see it's got pickups. It's actually all-wheel pickup, which is great. The older one only had pickups on 2 of the wheels. So yeah, all-wheel pickup. And it is all-wheel drive, actually, to be honest. I know I said earlier, but because of the rods, all-wheel pickup, all-wheel drive, so it does run well. So I'm not going to film myself doing the soldering and splicing of wires and all that, because I'm not very good and you'll only just make fun of me. So yeah. So I'll do that off camera and I will be back once I have the socket installed. We don't need all these extra wires. These are for like functions, so lighting. So blue would be your common for your lighting, and I think yellow is front light and white is rear light, I think. So we won't be needing them. And green is an extra function, and then purple, there is a purple one. No, the purple, sorry, is on there. That's an extra function. Yeah, so 8-pin. So we only need, I think it's red, black, orange, and grey. They're your 4 wires you need. You don't need the other 3 for this anyway. So I'll probably cut them down short enough. So yeah, I'll be back in, well, for you it'll be a couple of seconds. For me it could be several hours depending on how it goes. But yeah, and several cups of tea later. See yous. So, and just like that, it's converted to DCC. So I unsoldered the old DC wiring with the little suppressor thing to stop noise, whatever it is. Yeah, so just unsoldered that. I can solder it back on if I need to. If I ever want to put this back to DC, but I'll put that in the box. And yeah, basically have my socket. I cut the other wires down to short, so I don't need those ones. But yeah, you got motor left or right, the other side of the motor, and then you know you got your track right, track left, or whatever. And voila. As I said, if you put it on and it goes the wrong way, you can just unsolder and swap the track or the motor once the job's done. Yeah, what I'm going to do now is throw in the chip and just throw it on the track and just double check it works before I go to the hassle of putting it all together. So yeah, there we go. That's it. It's very simple to convert to DCC. That's all you need. Again, if you were to hardwire the chip instead of putting the 4 wires from a socket, you just put the 4 wires from a chip. Simple as that. Yeah. So now that I have it converted, I'm just going to give it a little test run just to make sure that it works before I go to the hassle of putting the, stuffing everything into the body shell and putting it back on. So let's see if the sound works. Oh, it does. And as I said earlier, I mixed this out of my 201 class, so it currently has a class 66 sound profile on it, so that's why it's, yeah. I will change that. Let's see, will it move? Hey, there she goes. And stop. And it notches all the way up, and then has to notch all the way back down. Nice when I go backwards to make sure it goes in reverse. Hey, it does. So yeah, that's a successful test. And there we go. Lovely. So yeah, now I can go tidy it back up. So it's now at a stage where I can show you just before I put the body shell back on. So as you can see, nice and tidy. I have the power pack there, stuck down. I have the speaker in there. If you can just about, alright, I'll lift it up if I can. Yeah, so the speaker in there, double-sided sticky tape to the side. Bit of pink tack, because I didn't have any blue tack, but pink tack holding the socket on that side. And then underneath all the tape is the chip and all the wiring and everything. So yeah, she's all ready to be the body shell to put back on. So back in a minute. Not what you expect a steam engine to sound like. Time to change the sound profile. So I've now popped everything back into the body shell. Everything's now nice and tidy, and we'll give it a go, see how she works. Now unfortunately I don't have any, I'm kind of low on sort of prototypical rolling stock for a Ginty, but from Northern Ireland point of view, so I just cobbled together a mixed rake of freight wagons, sort of older freight wagons. They're probably all completely the wrong era, but it is what it is. But here we go. So, we saw what the slow speed performance was on DC. Now, I only have like the cheapest DC controller you can buy, so let's see what it's like on DCC. There we go, that's pretty good. Let's see if it can do it in forward direction as well. Oh yeah, lovely slow crawl. And because I have the power pack in there, and actually the all-wheel pickups are pretty good. Even on DC, it never stuttered once. So, look at that. It's amazing how, even this is a budget locomotive, how well it performs under digital control. So, yeah, absolutely fantastic. So I thought I'd go through a few of the sounds as well. So unfortunately, it's not quite the right sound profile. Hornby only have a 4F sound profile, whereas this is a 3F loco. But I'm hoping it sounds fairly similar. But yeah, you can have your whistles. Obviously, you've heard. You can have your safety valve. What else is a good one? You can have fireman's breakfast. Cooking their rashers. And then blow down. Guards whistle, obviously. And yeah, so there's a few other little sounds, but yeah, that's it. Very, very impressed. And sure, we'll get back to the desk and do a little final review and summary. So, very successful running session. I thought I'd give you a slight history of the engine number 19 before we go on to a little summary. So apologies if any of this information is incorrect. It's just from a quick Google, as my knowledge is very, very light. This is courtesy of Wikipedia. So the LMS Northern Counties Committee, or NCC, Class Y, which is what these engines were formed as, was class of 060T steam locomotives when two LMS Fowler 3F engines numbers 7456 and 7553 were re-gauged from 4 foot 8.5 inch, which is the standard gauge in England, to 5 foot 3 inches, which is the standard gauge in Ireland, in 1944, becoming the NCC numbers 18 and 19. The locomotive here is number 19, as you can see. So during World War II, the Northern County Committee was very short of shunting motive power, as no new engines are available. So they went to their parent company LMS for help. They offered two standard LMS Fowler 3F engines, so numbers 18 and 19, which they were renumbered. Number 19 was originally numbered 16636 and was part of a large batch of 50 locomotives built by the Hunslet Engine Company of Leeds in West Yorkshire, hence the little tiny decal there, says Leeds, between 1927 and 1929, and originally was numbered between 166025 and 16674, and then was renumbered 7553 in 1934. And then the engines were both reboilered by LMS in 1944, just before delivery to the NCC in August. And then the conversion of 5 foot 3 inch gauge was simply done by reversing the wheels and renewing the tyres and crank pins. Their frames were not altered at all, and possibly due to the light nature of their work, the engines did not seem to suffer from the widening of the gauge. So that's just a small little fact, little facts about the engine itself. So finally, we'll move on to a little summary and what I think of the model. I think it's great. highly recommend it. Really good runner. You wouldn't really tell that it's a budget locomotive. It runs really well, especially under DCC. On DC, it ran grand. I think if I had a better controller, it would be a little bit better. I have the cheapest Hornby controller you can get because I don't really run DC. But under DCC with the HM7000, it's fantastic. And as you can see, it fits in. It's a little bit of a tight squeeze, but it's doable, which is fantastic. And I think it sounds great. Slightly the wrong sound profile, which I'm sure people will point out, but to me, it sounds great. And yeah, especially with the power pack in, runs great. Can't really argue with that. And yeah, I think it's fantastic that Marks Models did this, and fair play to Hornby for knocking it out of the park. And it's really good. Like, the finish on it's really good, the quality's good. Can't really argue. Hopefully it's a success, and hopefully Marks Models in the future will do some more exclusives. And currently it's the only, as far as I know, the only ready to run Irish steam engine you can buy. So thank you very much for watching the review, and I hope I didn't miss anything. Please, share your comments in the comments. Yeah, that makes sense. Share your comments down below, and I will link in the description below to Marks Models page where you can buy your own Jinty. I think they were limited to 500, so they probably sell out. So get one while you can. And yeah, follow my YouTube channel and my Facebook page as well. I'll put a link to that below. And thank you very much.